Hey guys, and today I want to talk about the new game mode that is gonna coming, in the next couple days, hopefully. Um, Harris have been hinting that we should have it this week, and we really hope so. And it's gonna be total meta changing, right? So, as you can see in this picture, we have some structures now, and the point of the game will not be to kill the leader anymore, but it will be to kill these structures. Now, these was posted last week with 10 health on each structures and 10 health on leaders. So what would happen basically now? Your leader will be able to die, but will only have like 10 life, for example, like we just see in this picture. And whenever the leader dies, it's gonna go into your hand as a card, and it's gonna cost you more. And the more it dies, the more it's gonna cost you to cast. And your objective is going to be to destroy both structures. And as you can see, structures have 0 damage, and they will not deal return damage, and they can't move since they're structures. And yeah, that's a pretty big change for the game. And uh, the developers kind of ask us, a little bit what we were thinking, and my buddy, Mr. C on Discord, which is Mr. C4 in game, if I believe so, he just like take every one of the big ideas that was posted on the Discord and made a list. And also at the end of the video, I'll talk a little bit about what are my ideas into this kind of game and what does it mean, right? So let's just go over the list that my friend sent me here. So the first thing is that we could return neutral spell to the game, but these spell will only interact with the towers or the structures that are the objectives. For example, a spell that increases their health or that gives return damage. They make it fire, or that's the point of having these neutral spells. And that will be interesting because now, it will not be like spells like removal or buffing on units and everything that is like Pantheon defining. It's really going to be neutral spells that everybody can use in order to make the objective game a little bit more equal for everybody, right? I think that will be interesting. We could definitely maybe see that. But they may also take that idea and implement it to an other Pantheon that's going to be released next, where that Pantheon will specialize into using these objectives to buff them or to use them in combination with 2 spells to make it really effective. So yeah, the second idea that we have is that whenever the towers dies, the last tower or the last structures, I'm gonna refer as towers, right? Because that's the closest as what we know. But whenever the last of your objective dies, then you have a Titan that spawns, and that Titan is able to deal return damage, for example, and has a little bit of health. For example, the 110 that you have to kill, or 210 that you have to kill. So it really makes it like the MOBA when once you get all the structures down, then you have the big final boss, and you kind of need to be prepared for that one. And you want maybe a board, some removal in your hand to deal with that, and it'll be really amazing to just see like a Titan animation spawning, and maybe like I don't know, maybe you could give him a battle cry like restore 1 health to all of your units or something like that. You know what I'm saying, to give you a little comeback potential with that Titan. So that's definitely an idea that I would love to see introduced in the game. When the last structure dies, you just don't, like, you're not dead yet, but then you have the final objective who comes down, has the Titan that you need to kill, and it's a little bit harder if you're not prepared. So yeah, it will do. It will be a little bit weird, but this change is so big that's gonna be also really weird for the meta I'm talking about. So yeah, I really like that idea. We also have the idea to make the tower immune to spells. That will like protect them from, for example, Dragon Kings or for backstabs, stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like spells are part of the game and they're a way to deal damage. So I don't really like that idea. But you can just balance the spells around that, and maybe make them not able to target the towers, but don't make the towers immune. It will be interesting though to see how annihilation. Sorry guys, how annihilation for the Egyptian pantheon will work. Like, will it hit both objectives and the leader for like a massive damage without any units? That will be really really good. Um, but I mean, there's probably a lot of changes coming down in the cards and the balance of the cards also. So let's move to the next point. Then we're going to have make the towers the capture points so that the win connections require both attack and defense. And that will be really interesting, and that will nerf a little bit the decks that are spell heavy, since you need like a presence around the towers to capture it. And I think it would paralyze a little bit too much the meta into where, having a lot of units on board will be what everybody plays, since you have to capture all the objectives. But that could be like a secondary game mode or something like that. Now, then we have the suggestion to make bigger maps, and as we can see in this picture, everything seems so close, and like if the range units still have 4 range, it's so easy to attack it from range, and being like, from your side of the map, behind the choke point, like we can see here. And yeah, I really feel like making larger maps will just be better for the game in general, right? Not only because we're changing game mode, but also before. It's a 9x5 square, which means that the range units, when they're at the bottom of the map, can shoot all the way through the top of the map. And I don't know, it feels like everything's really clustered together. So I really would like to see bigger maps. Then we have give the tower more health. And we can see that before, the leader had 18 and 20 health, and that was, the average game time was about like 4 or 5 minutes, and it was ending really, really fast, so they give the leaders 5 more health, right? So now we're at 23 and 25, and it feels pretty good, right? You still die a lot of times to turn 6, 7, 8, and you have some late game games, and you have faster games when you die at 5, 6 mana. So I feel like it's a really good points of balance for the health right now that we have, being at 23 and 25. And yeah, make it 2 different objective that doesn't deal return damage, and that's really important. Will mean that you'll have a little less removal, since they don't do return damage. And because you have less removal, then the opponent units will attack more often, so you're going to need more health. And as we can see, there are 2 objectives of 10 health, that's only 20 health. And that's basically nerfing the health by 3 or by 5 if you were playing a range or melee leader. And because they don't return damage anymore, or they can't attack anymore, then I really feel like this idea to give more health to the towers is going to be needed, because then everything's gonna end so fast, like we saw before. But yeah, like I really would like to see like 12 or 15 health per objective, at least 12 health per objective, so we're like 24. But maybe even 15 health per objective. That wouldn't be too much, since they don't return the damage that they take. For example, from a 1/1 archer, then the 1/1 archer is really really good, because it doesn't die to anything unless it decides to attack the leader. And having a lot of more little units will be better, because the leader can only attack once, right? Before, if you had a lot of units and you attack the leader, they will all die, because the leader will deal 1 return damage, and that will not be the case anymore. Moving on, we have give towers return damage. This idea is, well, I don't know, because, the point of the change is to really make a different meta, and if you give the towers return damage, then it kind of defeats the purpose, and the 1 health minions becomes really trash again. And I really like that, every unit can be a threat, a little bit or a big one, and that you have to make the decisions if you want to remove them or not. So yeah, I think that instead of giving tower return damage, you can just increase their health a little bit, so it balances out. Then we have give the towers an AoE that can be placed at a mana cost, and that will be like a second hero ability, or leader ability, sorry. And Yeah, it's a little bit like giving them return damage, but then you put a price on it with some mana cost, and I don't know. The structures shouldn't be able to defend themselves. I feel like you really want them to be protected by your army. So yeah, I mean we can have some spells that interact with them, like I said, maybe in the neutral or maybe a whole pantheon based on that. But I don't want it to be like everybody has the same ability that like Tar can deal AoE damage, just like for example a Roman ballista tower right now, and it will remove a little bit of the uniqueness of the Roman tower right now. And then we have the final suggestion, and the 10th one is make the tower a range unit that don't do return damage, but like randomly attack a tile in the map, and that will be cool. I think if you make it like a 1 by 1, for example, and you make it that it shows where it's gonna shoot, and at the end of the next turn it shoots, so you can react to that, and it deals like maybe just 1 damage, and it's a little bit of zoning, and it could be like totally random, but then you will have like a lot of dead spots, or you could try to place it in a 9 by 9 zone, and then it randomizes it, and on the next turns it shoot, and I don't know, it could be cool, but it could be weird also. I don't really mind that one. It's an interesting thought. And yeah, it will be fun. I think it would have been fun. And for me personally, when I saw that, I was a little bit skeptical. I wasn't really sure why they want to do that, but I feel like this is gonna make the game really unique and really interesting. With 10 health on both sides and of the structures, and they can't move, so you can't body block anymore really easily. If there's a melee unit that get to your structure, and it starts attacking it, unless you kill the melee unit, you can't just retreat and block anymore with a new unit. You're gonna have to kill it, or else it's just gonna stick there and attack the objective turn after turn. Um, you can combat that if you place a unit before the enemy units gets to yours, because you can now spawn units around the towers if your leader is dead, for example. But yeah, like once he's there, it's just gonna stay there unless some things remove it. And with the way that they show this map, it seems like there's gonna have a lot more choke points. And where is what is the best unit to use in choke points? Well, it's probably a range unit, right? Because you just place your leader on the choke point because he's really high health, so he's like used as a tank. And then all your range units, like for example, Needs, Anhurs, the Crippled Bowman, the Anubis, all these range units can just stay in the back and shoot everything that's in front of your leader, and they can even safely shoot the structures. And this is why I want also bigger maps. So there's bigger maps, make it that the you have a little bit more movement, and you can actually reach their range units, because then if you're using a lot of body blocks, it's kind of really close to have a wall of ward, um and like anything that you're going to play, if what you play on board has less health than the attack of the range units of your opponent combined, it will instantly die unless it has a battle cry or charge, for example. And that's really, really not healthy for a game like that, right? And that's why I post a video about balancing range, because it's really hard right now. And yeah, that's why I want a little bit bigger maps, more health on the objective. So like aggro will, like for example, think just about aggro with a frenzy, and I don't know if you saw what they posted, but now it's supposedly, because Scott post in their last patch notes, not patch note, but like patch show, where they leaked this image. They showed that like the Hunter Sigil will now spawn 300, 311 for 2 mana, and now think if the next turn you did the same thing, and the turn after you use like a frenzy, then you can just already shoot through all these little 0-10 structures and really take massive damage. Combine that with like a mana potion mayhem, and then you have like 6 shots, if not more, because you have leader on board, 7 potentially. Um, so yeah, like aggro could be really really good. And it's kind of a little scary, right? Because aggro usually doesn't rely as much on skills as the other ones. It really does rely if you have good draws on the early game to get the burst that you need most of the time, or be able to outrun your opponent before they can even do it. And that's a little bit what I'm scared of, right? How can you answer 3 or like 6 hunter sigil in the first 2 turns, right? Your leader's gonna only be able to attack one. There's like 5 left, or like even 2 left. That's a lot, knowing that Odin can like boost one, and then you know it's gonna be really strange. And I mean, of course, the balance of the game will take a huge slap to the face with this new game mode. But it's gonna take a while. But they're probably going to do a lot of balancing about around that. And if there's something that's really broken, I hope they're gonna hot fix it. And I'm actually really hyped to see what's gonna come out of this, right? I remember that they say that if it's a total crash and nobody likes it, they will probably return to the old game mode. But whenever the patch hits, I know that they say the normal queue will be removed, and that this will replace the next. This will replace the queue that we know now, basically. So that's gonna be like forced for everyone to play and just give their thoughts about it. Do they like this, or do they hate it, right? And based on that, and based on the feedback that they have, they're going to decide whether it was a good idea or not. And I really love how they present. This is basically giving the player a choice, like what, like, and it makes it a lot more unique, and it makes it a lot more interesting. And yeah, like I said, it's gonna be really amazing. I'm really hyped to see whenever it's gonna come out, and I hope I'll see you guys there to test it with me and just to have fun with me discovering the new meta. And I hope I'll see you there, guys. So thank you for watching. Like, feel free to put a comment about what do you think about these upcoming changes, and yeah, feel free to put a like. And if you learned something and if you enjoyed it, you can always subscribe to my channel. It really helps me a lot. And I'll see you soon.